Hi, Aaron.
Hi. What is the purpose of the nervous system?
What is the purpose of the nervous system? That's a great question. The nervous system, very complicated actually, but the basic idea of the nervous system is this. The Regents exam wants you to really know that word homeostasis, and that's maintaining a stable internal environment. Your nervous system does this. That's its job, to maintain your internal environment. For example, your nervous system includes your brain, your spinal cord, and your peripheral nerves. Now, your peripheral nerves are the ones that run in your arms and legs and your fingers. When you detect a signal from peripheral nerves and they enter your brain or your spine and travel, and your brain detects that signal, it tells your body what to do in that case. A good example of your nervous system as related to homeostasis is maintaining your body temperature. If you're sick, your body wants to increase the body temperature to stop bacteria and viruses from reproducing. That extra heat, when you have a temperature, makes you feel bad and actually can be harmful to us, but your body's purpose of doing that, your nervous system, your brain, is telling your body to increase temperature because it will help deactivate or kill, in a sense, the viruses and bacteria that are making you sick. So the most important thing you need to know about the nervous system is its function in regulating your body, heart rate, breathing rate, maintaining homeostasis. Since you brought up the nervous system, and it relates to homeostasis, a perfect example of when homeostasis fails is a disease. By definition, a disease is a condition that prevents the body from working normally. Causes: foreign invaders, pathogens, bacteria, viruses. Any foreign invader is defined as a pathogen. Even organ transplants. When you receive an organ transplant, again, your body is trying to feel the proteins located in your cell membrane. If it doesn't recognize those proteins as self, as your own proteins, your body will mount an immune response against that, sort of like a disease, and that's failure of homeostasis. Your body cannot maintain a stable internal environment. Your body's constantly fighting cancer cells. Every day. We all have cancer cells. Viruses, this is a perfect example of a virus shaped like this is called a bacteriophage. And what happens is, it's crazy. Viruses attach to our cells, inject their DNA into our cells. Our cell doesn't realize that the DNA that it's about to read is viral DNA. It's sort of like sneaking a recipe into a cookbook and you accidentally cook it and make it. That's what our cells do. Our cells read that viral DNA. Turns out it's the instructions on how to make more viruses. So our cells are tricked into actually cranking out more viruses. And the worst thing about that is what our cells use as building blocks to make those viruses are its own cell organelles. So by the time a cell has read the viral DNA and manufactured more viruses, there's nothing left inside the cell, and the cell lyses or explodes, and multiple viruses leave again. That's how you can be sick in 24 hours. One day your friend has a cold, 24 hours later you do. One virus from your friend enters your nose, lands on a cell in your nose, injects its DNA. Couple hours later, that cell explodes. The viruses all leave, attached to other cells in your nose. The same process happens again, and 24 hours later, you're feeling lousy, and your nose is running because you've got all these cells exploding full of viruses. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, I need help on diffusion and osmosis.
Diffusion and osmosis?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, diffusion Osmosis is actually a specific type of diffusion. Okay? By definition, diffusion is movement of molecules across a cell membrane. Now, this could be oxygen, because of course you need that for respiration. It could be carbon dioxide on its way out as a waste product. It could be salt, which is sodium. It could be sugar. And you guys, again, should know the formula for sugar for your Regents exam, C6H12O6. Diffusion, again, movement of molecules across the cell membrane in either direction. Osmosis is diffusion of water. They gave water its own name. The movement of water, H2O, across the membrane is called osmosis. So osmosis is just a specific type of diffusion involving only water. And diffusion in general is any molecule moving across the cell membrane. In one of your state labs, you guys covered, hopefully you covered diffusion, and you guys studied what would happen if sugar diffused across a membrane. Did you do that lab? So that's a good one for your teachers to do. The name of that is diffusion across the membrane. So I hope I answered your question.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Hi, Deidre.
Hi.
What's your question?
I would like to know what is the difference between dominant genes and recessive genes?
Dominant genes and recessive genes. Okay. Dominant genes are genes that are expressed in an organism. For example, a trait such as eye color. Brown eyes is dominant to blue eyes. And we generally use letters to represent genes. If brown is the dominant gene for eye color, you would use big B. Blue, little b. Okay? Dominant genes are expressed, they say. They show up. So, if one of your genes came from your dad and is a brown-eyed gene, one of the genes came from your mom as a blue-eyed gene, because brown is dominant over blue, it will show up in you as the trait brown eyes. The only way for recessive genes to show up in an organism is to be what's called pure recessive, meaning that you got a recessive gene from your mother for blue eyes, for example, and the recessive gene for brown eyes, or I'm sorry, for blue eyes from your father. Having two recessive genes is the only way for a recessive trait to show up. Dominant traits will show up either if there's one of them or if you're pure dominant. Okay, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
What's your question?